Rolling. Everyone's rolling.
So I guess the question is, tell us everything. Tell us about the premise of the show. Tell us a little bit about your character.
You want to pick the premise?
Yeah, it's about two kick-ass girls who team up to avenge sexual assault on campus.
Yeah. I play this guy named Tyler Finn. He's an artist on campus, an art major, and kind of becomes, he runs into our main girl, Jules, and kind of hits it off with her, and so they kind of start seeing what that's about, and then they kind of become tragically intertwined, whether they know it or not, and yeah.
They're getting closer and closer as she's got bigger and bigger secrets to hide.
Yeah. And I'm oblivious, I suppose. Blinded by love. Yeah.
What was your favorite part of working with the show?
I don't know, the whole thing. Getting to work with people that like became my best friends in the world, and I don't know. It's like, it's my first experience being a series regular like this, and like to be able to come on a show that ends up being like that close knit, and no one has problems with anybody, and we're all just having a great time making something that we all really believe in and think is important, and that's a pretty good time, yeah.
Right.
How much of yourself went into putting on like the character?
So he's an artist, and obviously I'm an actor. It's an art thing as well. But I had that from the get-go. But I really got into art. Like I don't know if you guys know Twitch. I went on Twitch Creative and stuff, and I found some artists on there and started watching them, and then I started drawing with them, and it's become like a huge thing for me. And like
He's incredible.
Yeah, it's like this.
He's gotten really good.
Yeah, it's like this completely untapped thing I found, and so. And that obviously brought me a lot closer to Tyler. It's like you're staring at a piece of paper drawing for like 6 hours. Like what is that like? And I didn't know. And then you do it, and you're like, every time you close your eyes for the next, until you go to sleep, you're just seeing what you've been drawing. And so that's what I tried to do. But his past is different than mine, and you just try to find those little tethers that you can grab onto and hope it brings you closer to him. Yeah.
How long did? Sorry, you got it. You can go.
Can you tell us a little more about your character? What's he like as a person?
He's very charming. At least he is with Jules. Actually, kind of brings it out of him, and he's just like, he can't believe her. It's like she's everything to him. I think she's just perfect for him. So with her, he's like obviously his walls come down, I think, kind of immediately with her, and he's very free to be himself, even if that makes him a weirdo. Like he doesn't mind when he's with her, it's whatever it is. But with his art, he's a little more guarded. It's something that he pours his heart into, but when it comes to like showcasing and things like that, he's a little more sheltered. Whereas like with Jules, he's completely himself. With his art, he's still kind of figuring out what that's like.
Will he be interacting with Ophelia as well?
He does, yeah. Tyler, he interacts with Ophelia a little bit. There's moments where we interact. There's one incredible moment for sure that we get to share together, which I'm thankful for. But yeah, I know it's weird because Taylor and I are obviously super close, but we don't. The majority of my stuff is with Jules or with Eliza, or just like me with other people or whatever it is. But
definitely their relationship, like we see the build of their relationship as well, and they do interact, and they have fun banter between each other.
Yeah, I don't think she's not crazy about me at the beginning, maybe. Yeah.
So a lot of the action takes place on a college campus. Does the show take the ripped from the headlines approach as far as storylines are concerned, or
no? It's very fictionalized. Obviously we did a tremendous amount of research for Sweet Vicious. We really did our homework. We worked very closely also with different organizations, and unfortunately, the sad story is that these stories are everywhere, and everybody you talk to, their lives were so personally touched by it. But this is not a rip from the headlines at all. It's very fictionalized.
Now, when you guys were shooting, did you go to a college to shoot, or did you create your own set?
We did. We shot on location.
Yeah, a little bit of both. Yeah.
Yeah, we had sets and we shot on location.
There isn't really a lot of press out in media. How do you guys want to get it all out there? Because no one, I've talked to a lot of people who are like diehard MTV fans, and they haven't even heard a word about it yet.
Yeah, well, we're just starting the rollout. We had the teaser that was on during the VMAs, and there will be a trailer coming out hopefully this week, and so that will give you a lot more information and set up the show really well. It's awesome, and then soon there's going to be some promos and trailers as we get closer to the premiere date on November 15th. So you'll have a lot more. This is just the start.
And you guys, sorry.
No, go ahead.
You guys are premiering with Teen Wolf. Why do you think Sweet Vicious will appeal to Teen Wolf fans?
Well, I think that just like they both have darkness in them, and they have incredible kick-ass stories and really like great twisty plot turns. And I think it's a perfect match. We're really thrilled to have Teen Wolf as our lead. We're huge fans of the show.
What other networks have you shopped for before selling for MTV?
I'm so sorry, I didn't hear you.
No worries. What other networks have you shopped for before settling with MTV?
I was an co-executive producer on Gossip Girl for many years, and I was on Togetherness for HBO. So I've done CW, HBO, and then before that I did comedies, and I was on NBC. A lot.
Solid resume.
Yeah, but this is my first time on MTV, and it's been an incredible experience. They've been just incredible partners for the whole show. It's been great.
What's your goal with the show? Like, where do you want to take it? Like, since this is the first season, like, how much do you want to keep up with it?
Oh, I mean, it's funny because Jen, who's the creator, she originally thought about the show. She actually had it set outside of the college world, and then when she developed it with MTV, they wanted it to be set in college so we could see the origin story of where these girls sort of started and how they came together, which once we locked into that, it was just, there was so much there to dig into, and so we would just love to, continue through the college years and then maybe just take it out into the world.
Well, to finally get to the place where she originally had it too.
Obviously the show deals with sensitive subject matter, but it has a lot of comedic elements in it. Does that make writing hard? Or writing comedic stuff about sensitive issues? Is that difficult?
I mean, it's something that we were just incredibly thoughtful about. We did not take it lightly. Like, we are dealing with such a serious issue, and it's such a personal issue for so many people that we were really thoughtful about the places that we did have humor, but we also felt it was so important because everybody has that experience in life where in your darkest moments you can find humor in them, and that's really important. And we wanted to have that combination, and we feel like it's one of the things that makes the show really special. But we did not do it lightly, and we are very careful in the ways that we do it. And we just feel like we tried to make it as organic to the Sweet Vicious tone as we could.
A lot of times with vigilante heroes, public either sees them as a hero or a menace. What can we expect from the campus life? Usually the youths are the ones on the side of heroes, while administration might think of them more as menaces. How do you draw that line?
That's a great question. We're exploring all aspects of it on campus. We're exploring the administration and how the school handles it, and we're exploring how the students react to there being vigilantes on campus. And we really tried to go deep into exploring the gray areas of this issue, and so it's not so simple as black and white. I mean, we really did try and embrace how complex of an issue this is on all sides.
Did you ever feel like you hit a point where you might have gone? Was there a point where a network said you might be going too far with something, or have they always been pretty supportive of all your decisions?
They've been really supportive all along. MTV has been great, and we've really been on the same page in developing the show and with the characters. And it's been a dialogue the whole way, but we've been on the same page with MTV. It's been great. Yeah.
What about coming into a show like this for you as an actor, like taking in the seriousness of what's going on? How are you feeling about it?
Well, I mean, they gave us I don't know how to say it, but they gave us the opportunities to make sure that we knew what we were getting into and to talk with people and to feel educated, and which was heavy at times, but it definitely, I I think gave us a huge gift, you know, like we all felt like a family after that. We all knew the subject matter we were talking about. We understood it much better. But yeah, it felt like a big thing, and each of our characters has their own relationship with sexual assault, with the topic. You know, my stepbrother in the show has several outstanding sexual assault charges against him, and so how does Tyler deal with that? How does it feel to him? And but yeah, I think, you know, we felt prepared. Yeah.
Did you learn anything from your characters' mistakes that you applied to real life scenarios?
Characters' mistakes. he's like everything. Yeah, no.
Like life lessons, so to speak.
Yeah. I think he's very good at seeing the good in someone, and even when people might not behave the way that you want them to, it's love is love kind of a thing, and you have to be there for them, you know? Even if you don't approve of their choices, their decisions, it's like, you gotta be there for someone, I think, you know? And I guess I can take that from him and, you know, hopefully apply it to my life, I guess, yeah. Seems like a good one.
Welcome.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, of course.
So, Netta, we go to another table, right? Yeah.
Great.
Sweetie.
Oh, no, you have a thing.
Oh, I do have a thing.
Oh, you have, yeah. Move your chair up.
No, I like to suffer.
Okay.
Is this your first time ever in New York Comic Con?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's all of us, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. We're all Comic Con virgins. How's it feel, guys?
She went there.
Yeah, we were excited to be here.
Yes, we're very excited.
Can you tell us a little about each of your characters?
Sure. I play Ophelia Mayer. I am I'm a depressed, anxious anarchist who just wants to find something important and to belong somewhere, but also hates the concept of belonging to someone. So it's this kind of like struggle there, but I find it a cause, and that cause is, and watch the handoff, there it goes.
I play Jules Thomas. And so you first meet my character in the show, and she's kind of lying to everyone around her and kind of struggling to find a place that she belongs, just in a different way to Ophelia. I think we're both kind of lost in a way. And yeah, she's a lovely girl that has a terrible thing happen to her, and I think is let down by people around her, and is forced to deal with something alone that makes her channel into moonlighting as a vigilante, avenging sexual assault victims. She's a fighter for justice. She's a survivor. She's pretty kick-ass. She's pretty awesome, and yeah, and our relationship in the show, I think our friendship kind of drives the show.
You can just say we are the show. I mean, like, in so many words.
Now, did you have to dye your hair for the part, or is your hair already a crazy color?
I am blonde, actually, which is a very...
She's like my color. Yeah.
I'm like really light blonde, which freaks people out with my brows. Most people think I
like the way
dye
you
my
said
eyebrows
that.
like black. No, that's weird. But I did have to dye it.
Yeah, when she got
Yeah,
the part,
I
we were
did.
like, yeah, and your hair's gonna be green. Because
Like,
Ophelia
okay.
needs something. Ophelia needs that green hair.
Yeah, and I said as long as it wasn't pink, because I didn't feel pink.
Yeah,
was
she
right
said
at
that
all.
was the one color
I said
she
that's the
didn't want.
only.
You would
color
not
that
have- Ophelia wouldn't have
exactly.
pink
That's
hair.
what I said. I was like any other color, but
It was
pink
always
just
gonna be
seems
green.
wrong for Ophelia.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And blue felt like almost not basic, but it felt like a
There's
lot.
a little bit of that.
Yeah, like a lot of people have blue, and I was like, no one has green.
Did you find this? It's like mermaid though, because there's a lot of blue in it.
Yeah, depending on the
It's
lighting.
not. Yeah, some lights you'll see just pure green. A lot of people call it my blue hair. They'll say, "Oh, your blue hair,"
Yeah.
or
Color
correction on the show is great. Looks different in every scene.
But in life too.
Yeah.
In life.
In life. In
I feel
life.
like the color like echoes. Have you ever seen Ghost World?
Yeah.
So like Enid, you know, with her when she dyes her hair as like an act of rebellion, and she's doing this whole like 70s like post-punk rock thing. Yeah, so it kind of gives that rebellious vibe
Yeah,
right away, which is nice.
Oh, you guys should definitely see
You'll
Ghost World.
eventually.
It's so awesome.
Yeah.
You'll eventually see that it's also like definitely a rebellion against her mother specifically. So I feel like a lot of moms care way too much about their daughter's physical appearance, and so I feel like that's a big old fuck you, which is cool.
It worked great in the pilot when you toured in the car and like the Wicked song came on.
Oh, yeah.
I just went, okay.
We had
Which is
a lot of
coincidental.
fun.
It was like,
We decided. You decided separately.
Yeah,
and then
Yeah, and then there was like a moment, and it was like, oh my god.
in the table
They're
once I got my
Alpha
hair
Glinda.
dyed.
Yeah.
Once we actually got my hair dyed, and we were sitting around and we start singing it, and we go. sorry.
What was your favorite film? I mean, what was the favorite scene that you filmed?
In the pilot, in the first episode, that was
in general.
or in. We might have a spoiler alert then. Though.
Oh no, you know what?
In the pilot.
Putting his body away.
Oh yeah, there's a shot in the pilot where Taylor and I have to carry like a 6'2" man's dead body and put it in the trunk of the car,
And we both lost it, but she could not.
because it
it
didn't fit, and it was like and we had to like snap his legs in half to try and
Like
make
really
it fit.
quick, so like like you see it, and then the camera kind of like is blocked by her body, and she like folds his legs,
Like right when you can't
really
see it, it goes,
easily.
there was a
And
moment.
every time I throw it in, his head hits like boing boing, and then goes in. It's
You have
just,
so many takes where I just collapse over
She
the
does
car
this,
and I'm
and you just
laughing like this.
vibrating over the car, and it's bizarre. No, I'm gonna mess up everyone's shot.
Yeah,
I hope
sorry.
you know that.
There was a moment where the body that they had wasn't fitting, and they both kind of turned to me because I'm very small, and I was sitting in the chair at the monitor,
And we're like-
I was just like, "You're not wrapping me in tarp and putting me in the car." Like
Yeah, we
100%.
both had the idea, and we were
Every
like,
time we
like-
did it, we hit the head, and she goes, "I'm not gonna be the head then."
doing that.
we were like, do you care about the show?
Yeah, and I said no, and I walked off, and now I'm at Comic-Con.
That's the last time we saw her.
Yeah.
It's weird that you're here again.
It's
Hello.
so weird.
Yeah.
I just showed up.
Jill's great, really.
I believe every single word you said.
How much of your personal thoughts go into creating your characters?
Mine's more obvious, I'd say. A lot.
After I met them and they were cast, a lot.
Yeah.
The characters changed. Like the character
we
that
did.
was on the page in the original pilot that I wrote, it evolved and it changed. And as the season went on, I mean, there are things that Ophelia says that are just Taylor-isms that I put into the show.
Fudge nipples.
Fudge nipples. I knew.
Yeah. That was a great moment. Though.
Yeah.
And I also feel like, I don't know, Taylor and my relationship outside of work, like, we're very bonded. And
It's absurd, actually.
there's a lot of stuff like, in that way, I feel like Ophelia and Jules worked so well because Taylor and I have a very similar, like, dynamic than Jules and Ophelia do.
You're a lot more you're so much more wicked. You're much more Ophelia's sense of humor.
Yeah, I think I think my Englishness is
Yeah,
like
it's-
Jules is very sweet, and
Yeah.
her comedy lies in kind of her uncomfortableness sometimes with how like brash Ophelia is.
The
Whereas
absurdity.
I'm very comfortable with how
Yes,
brash you are.
very overly overt. But yet, no, we actually found ourselves one day, like a few months in, we looked at each other and we go, wait, have we spent even a weekend apart? So we would work, 5 days a week,
And then every day on the weekend we would see each other. Yeah.
the entire day.
It'd be like, can I come round and just pick up that thing I left at your house? And be like, yeah, cool. And then 6 hours later, we'd had dinner, we swam in the
And
pool.
slept over, yeah. A lot.
It's the best bit. That's good.
What can you tease about how your characters will evolve, like individually and their relationship together over the season?
Yeah, what Jen has done beautifully is the character's arc in this first season. I think I'm really excited for people to see. I think that people are gonna love it. I feel like with Jules, you'll meet. Like the show is violent, but it's not that we're saying, "Hey, if this happens to you, you should go around and beat up rapists." Like it's got a message that there's consequences to these girls' actions, and also that Jules is maybe channeling her anger and not actually helping herself with what she's gone through. And I think Jules hits a point where she needs to address what's happened to her. and not what's the word, channel it
Hide
into
behind the mask.
hide behind, nice, she's the writer, and not hide behind the mask, and so there's definitely a point where Jules has to deal with that, and it's sometimes not pretty, and but it's a beautiful arc. It was a pleasure to read the episodes as we were going.
Did you have to go through like training to like do like the karate moves? Or did you have like a
We
completely
did.
different person?
We had martial arts. I mean, we have an amazing stunt team.
Oh my God.
Phenomenal. But Taylor and I did a month of fight training together, 3 times a week. It was good. It was like martial arts and parkour and free running, and it was we had the best time. It was like
we were like, every time we were done, a group of like children came in for like the same class.
we doing the same moves as
immediately
us.
were humbled, but it's so much fun. It's we like learned to climb a wall, like
you mean like run up a
try
wall,
to
yeah.
climb a wall.
It was good.
A lot of fun.
I can hear Nick Fink's voice. Yeah, so much.
Thinkleberries.
Thank you guys.
Thanks,
Thank you guys so much. We save the best for last. I know, and you guys have such fun, like.
You guys have good cameras. Yeah, I like this. That was the coolest.
Yeah, they both are.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, but they're color coordinated. Did you guys get to see the show?
I did. I'm really interested. 30-second trailer of some kind when I was doing my research online. But yeah.
Well, you're in for a treat.
So tell us all the things. We want to know all
You
the things.
start. What things, for those who saw it, do you want to know?
Sweet Vicious is a millennial lens into 2 superhero badass characters who fight crime, who come together in the most unlikely way. 2 very different leaders, being Eliza and Taylor, and you get this very girls meets Quentin Tarantino perspective.
I like that description.
Thank Stacey Share for that. And I don't think
Jen Robinson.
or Jen, exactly. And I don't think there's any show out there that gives you that millennial lens. And as Stacey was talking about earlier at the Comic-Con panel, Sweet Vicious is one of those shows that gives justice to that millennial perspective, where I think there's not enough shows on TV that allow that millennial voice to really resonate and have color and texture and diversity and depth. And every character in this show is 3-dimensional. They have so much that they bring. They come from such diverse backgrounds. And I think you really see a change happen with each character that's unlike any on TV. And it's real. It's organic. It comes from a place of sincerity, and we deal with real issues, from sexual assault to race relations to just kick-ass fight scenes.
I see your Sons of Anarchy shirt on. and our stunt coordinator was the stunt coordinator on Sons of Anarchy. Yeah, and worked with me on Into the Badlands too. So we have some cool fights for these people, for these superhero ladies to do some butt kicking. Because I didn't know if I could say ass. So ass kicking.
What's your favorite part of filming the pilot?
I think from top to bottom, everything was exciting. From watching the words come alive to actually seeing such an innovative look into really, really strong-willed individuals. And I think the color of the show is so colorful, and there's so much texture. And I really think there's not one moment that you watch the show where you're not on the edge of your seat. You're not wondering what's going to happen next, who's going to pop into the story and change things up. Where's it going? Right. And I think when you have a concept like that is so multi-pronged, you can do nothing but be excited about what's going to happen next.
One of the things that was my favorite thing about the pilot, aside from the fact that we were getting to make it, was the pilot particularly is the only time that the creator showrunner, EP, and director of a network show have all been women. And now, when we went from a half hour to a 1 hour, Rebecca Thomas, who directed the pilot, wasn't available because she was working on a movie, and so the show was co-directed by Joseph Kahn, who did the second episode and did an amazing point, but did 2 great episodes. But we all sat around, and someone said, and also our line producer on the pilot was a woman. We sat in Video Village, and it was just women, and
which I loved, by the way.
But you know, that doesn't happen that often. And in fact, we later found out it had never happened before. So it was great. It was pretty special.
What was the process from changing the show from a half hour to an hour? Did you run into any issues that you didn't see coming?
I would say the greatest challenge was time, because we didn't have a lot of time to shoot. So we kind of did like snuck stuff into the pocket of other episodes, you know. It was a great gift that MTV gave to us to have us move from a half hour to an hour, because what they rightfully said is there's too much character, these issues are too serious, and yeah, it's kick-ass, and yeah, it's funny, and yeah, it's all of those things, but take time to develop the characters. And that was, it didn't take Jen very long to expand, because she knows who these people are so well. It really became about, we had 2 days to add additional photography. And just, you know, what you had 9 days to shoot, you doubled in 2 days. So, like I said, you were like sneaking a scene in the pocket of another episode, and, you know, peeling it off.
Now, Brandon, not so long ago you were on Disney shows. How much did you take from learning?
And FX shows.
And FX
Yes,
shows.
yes.
How much did you take from learning as like a young actor to bring into like a law student for something that's a lot more serious than a TV show like this?
It was a lot. You know, I think obviously being on Disney for the years and years and years that I was blessed to be a part of that network really prepared me for the rigorous content that I'm dealing with now at Sweet Vicious, and even in my time over at FX on You're the Worst, those hours and hours and hours, such dynamically different characters. You know, my character on the Disney shows is very young and spirited, and, you know, kind of a bit of a wild card. And then my character on You're the Worst is in your face, raw, Justin Bieber meets Kanye West. And then you've got Harris on Sweet Vicious, who represents everything, like Stacey shared earlier, can be great, and that is great about the American culture, which is the resilience, hopefulness, you know, and most importantly, sincerity. And I think Harris really embodies those qualities of what it takes to be an American, you know. And I think my experience on Disney Channel and FX, and, you know, even going to play Little Richard and Get On Up, all of those experiences really prepared me for something as serious as this character, Paris, you know, coming from a single parent home, you know, dealing with race relations, feeling like the outcast, feeling like his voice didn't matter. I think this is the culmination of all of those projects.
I'll tell you what was really exciting for me in watching Brandon's transformation. I think that in all this work that he's done, he got really good at cocooning himself with a character or an affect or Little Richard, and he was very careful being this other and fronting. And it was a beautiful process watching him courageously strip away all of those layers to play someone that was much closer to himself and who had more of the issues that Harris's life resembled Brandon's life a lot more than any of the other characters he's ever played, or the ways he presented himself. And it was beautiful watching
his scenes, particularly as you go later in the season, are really emotional and raw and honest, and really about his experience growing up in America and wanting to, to succeed.
Entirely. It was a journey, like she said, stripping away, putting a character on, being a human. And that's what Harris is. Harris is a humanitarian. Harris is that sign of hope. Harris knows turmoil like I do. I've almost been killed 11 times growing up where I grew up. And I think that resilience is a quality that every American, every person in the world should really try and replicate. Never give up. Harris never gives up. Stay true to yourself. Harris stays true to himself. Love, wholeheartedly. Harris loves wholeheartedly. Even when Ophelia wants him to smoke a joint, he's like, listen, okay, maybe one hit. You know what I mean? But he's one of those characters who really, I think, America will find a piece of themselves in Harris.
You spoke a little bit about the show being a millennial lens, and I think millennials tend to get a bad rap as being, apathetic, disaffected,
disinterested.
Can you tell me a little bit about how you think the show is really going to flip that on its head and show, maybe older audiences too, a little bit, what it really means to be a millennial?
I definitely think so. I think Sweet Vicious will definitely show older audiences, younger audiences, what it is to be millennial, what it is to be courageous. And I think if I could have one word that, the synonym for millennial, courage. And that's what this show truly embodies. The courage and the resilience of millennials. And the fact that we can be diverse, we can be, flawed, but we can also be great.
Yeah, I think that people, I think even from a conceptual standpoint, people are really reductive when they think about millennials. Like, they can't handle complex emotional stories, and I think that this show is a show that says, hey, these are all the complicated things that are going on in the world we live in that millennials have been stuck with, and we address them, and we believe that they're capable of handling complex issues, thoughts, feelings, emotions. And I think that was really, as a person who's clearly not a millennial, this is why we're here. He says things like that to me. I think that's one of the really important things. Like, I see, I have a 15-year-old and a 13-year-old, and the world that they're living in is way more complicated and harder to find hope and courage and all of those things, because you're bombarded by this 24-hour, 24-second news cycle. And I think Sweet Vicious really looks at the world that we live in and holds up a mirror for kids. Thanks, you guys.
You're welcome.
Help us. We need people to see it.
Yes. Seriously. Appreciate the time.
Absolutely.